Welcome to another Cricut tutorial. Today we're going to explore using patterns in Design Space to create this hello card. I think you're going to find this is a really fun technique and there's just endless possibilities with this. Okay, before we get started with the tutorial, we need to collect our digital patterns that we're going to use in Design Space. You can use any digital papers in Design Space as patterns. Digital papers are available in a variety of different places online. You can just Google digital papers and you'll find them in Etsy, you'll find them Snap, Click, Supply. Several different places have digital papers available. But I created this collection for you. It's absolutely free. You can download it in the description below the video. Please use it for personal use, not for resale. But go ahead and get this downloaded, put it on your desktop or someplace that's easily accessible for you to find it. I like to put things on my desktop while I'm working with it and then I'll file it away. So get these downloaded and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so here we are in Design Space 3 Beta. If yours looks a little different, you're probably using Design Space 2. I highly encourage you to try out Design Space 3 Beta. The project's going to work the same in either one, it's just your buttons may be in a different location. So here we go. We're going to create new project. And the first thing we're going to do is go to Upload. Now you're going to notice you have Upload Image and Upload Patterns. This is where we're going to be focusing today. You're going to upload the patterns that I have provided for you using the Upload Pattern button. So we're simply going to click on the upload pattern. And here we have a choice. We can click browse and navigate to where we saved those files, or you can drag and drop. I like the drag and drop. So I'm going to reduce my screen a little bit so that I can open up this vintage rose collection that I linked for you in the video comments, or the video description, I'm sorry. And we're just going to drag and drop any of these patterns that you like into Design Space. So we need this black and white stripe, so I'm just going to pull it over here and drop it. And just like that, it's going to upload into Design Space. You can name it. You can use any of these tags you want. I'm not going to use those tags on this one, but I am going to click down here in stripes. It's kind of geometric. And I'm going to click on black and I'm going to click on white. These are just some tags that kind of describe this paper that's going to make it easier for me to find it later. So we're going to click Save. And this is going to take just a moment for the patterns to upload. There you go. And it doesn't look like anything happened. It's not going to show up here because it's in the patterns, but don't worry about it. So we're going to click on Upload Pattern again. And we want another one, and I'm going to use, there's two vintage roses. There's one vintage rose and vintage roses. I'm going to use the vintage rose. It's a little bit smaller of a print. And again, I'm just going to click and drag. And we could put floral, we could put white, green, pink. There's some black polka dots in there. And I'm going to click Save. And again, you're not going to see anything here in the uploaded images. Now we're going to go grab a couple more images. Let's go Upload Pattern. And we're going to go back over here and we want this one, the Vintage Rose Word. I'm going to drag and drop. And again, this is kind of a stripe. This is black, this is white, and click Save. And we need one more, which is the Vintage Rose Green paper. So we're going to go to Upload Pattern. We're going to drag, drop. And this is kind of a geometric, it's kind of a polka dot, I guess. And it's white and it's green. And we're going to click Save. Okay, we don't need this anymore. We're going to close that. I'm going to make my screen big again. And we're just going to click Cancel. Okay, the first thing we need to create this card is a shape. So we're going to click on Shapes and click Square. Perfect. Now we're going to duplicate this square 2 more times, 1 and 2. All right, I'm going to grab this first square that's in the back. It's the one on the bottom of the layers panel. And I am going to go up to the edit menu and I'm going to click on this unlock, or the lock. It's called lock proportions button. When you unlock it, we can resize the height and the width separately. So I'm going to unlock it by clicking on it. You can see the lock opens. I'm going to highlight the width and I'm going to change that to 4.0. I'm going to use my tab key and tab over to the height, or you can click right here with your mouse, and I'm going to change the height to 5.25. That's perfect. Now we're going to click on the square over here in the layers panel, and we have some options up here. We're going to click on print. This brings up even more options, so we're going to click on patterns. And these are all patterns that either I have uploaded or that are available in Design Space. And we can go down here and find the ones that we need, but there's an easy way to filter this out. Once you get a library full of patterns, you don't want to have to sort through all those. So for the first layer, we want that vintage Word file. So we would click Filter, and we would go to Uploaded, and remember we tagged that black. So here it is. And I previously put this card together, so I've got it in here twice, but I wanted to show you how to do it in the video. So just going to grab it and double click it and watch what happens. Ta-da! It has filled in our shape with that pattern. So that is perfect. We can set that aside. I'm going to grab the next to the back image, which will be the middle one in the layers panel. While it's selected, I'm going to unlock lock proportions, and I'm going to change the width on this one to 3.5, and I'm going to change the height to 4.75. Great. Now we're going to click on it in the layers panel. We're going to click on print, patterns, and now we want the green pattern. So we're going to go back down to filters, and we're going to uncheck that black, and we're going to check on the green. And here is that image. And if you're not sure, you can click on this little eye right here and it'll turn it over. It's vintage rose green. That's the one we were looking for. So we're just going to click on that, double click, and watch what happens. And here it is. Now that is perfect. However, I would like to see that scale up a little bit. So we're going to click edit right here. And here we can play with this pattern. We can change the rotation of it. We can flip it. But this is what I want to do. I want to bring the scale up. And I'm going to take it to about 260%. And if you want to go in smaller increments, you can just click the up or down arrow. You can highlight this and just type in the 260. But whatever looks good to you, you can always adjust these patterns. And I love that. Actually, I like that a little bit better. That's 238. So I'm just going to leave that like that, and now our card's starting to form. It's going to look like that. All right, we got another box over here. We're going to click on it. We're going to go up to the edit panel, unlock key proportions. We're going to change the width to 3.25 and the height to 4.00. Great. Guess what we're going to do next? We're going to click on it in the layers panel, click print, click patterns. And for this one, we want that black and white stripe. So we can click on filters, uncheck the green, go back to black, and here's my black and white striped pattern. Great. So now that looks, it's going to set about like that. All right, next thing we need to do is we're going to go to images. Under images, we're going to go up to the search bar and we're going to type label. And you can use any of these labels you like. I want this first one right here. It is labels from the label cartridge, item M2E5B7. I'm just going to click on it and click insert images. Perfect. Before we do anything else, we want to resize this down so that it fits nicely in the middle of our card. That looks great to me. Mine is sized at 2.892 by 2.029, and there's nothing magical about those numbers. Whatever looks great to you is fine. Now, if we look at this over in the layers panel, we see that this has 3 layers. We're only going to work with 2 layers. So the first thing we're going to do is ungroup. Now, if you want, you can turn this one on, this bottom layer, it's the shadow layer, and you can just throw it away. You can hit delete. You don't have to, you can just leave it turned off. I like to keep my layer panel as clean as possible, so I get rid of any layers I'm not using. Next, we're going to click on the back part of this label, which is this black layer right here. And we're going to click on it in the layers panel, click print, go to patterns, and I want this vintage rose pattern right here. And if it's not showing for you, you can uncheck the black, click the pink, and it should be right there. We're going to fill that label with that pattern pink. And here it is. And again, we can go to edit and scale that up a little bit. And I like it. That looks good. Mine's at 1. Let's just make it an even 180. So there's our label, and that's going to set right here. Now I want to show you something you may not be aware of. If you know the RGB code, which is the number code for colors, if you know the RGB code of a specific color and you want to use that in your project, Design Space gives you that option, and well, at least in Design Space 3. I want to make a hello for the middle of this that matches the pink in this flower, and since I created this digital set, I know what the RGB code is of that flower. So I'm going to click on the label, the square part of the label over here in the layers panel, and see this box right here? This is the RGB code. And the RGB code for this particular color is E6328B. Now I found that out because in Photoshop it'll tell me what the RGB code is. So if you don't know what the RGB code is, you know, I could totally just go pick this color. It would probably be perfectly fine. But since I know it, I just wanted to show you that feature is available, and it has now picked that exact pink that is in that color. So with that selected, it's going to change my box to that color, which is perfect. It's a perfect match. So now we're going to go to text, and we're going to type hello in all caps. That's perfect. I have the Cricut Sans font chosen. If you want to change it, click right there and change it. I like that font, so I'm going to leave it. But obviously it's not going to fit on my label right there, so I'm going to size it down a little bit. And mine is sized at, we could just make it an even 1.5, but mine's 1.518 by 0.397. All right, it looks great, except for I don't want it in black. I want it in white. So I'm going to click on it in the layers panel, and I'm going to choose white. Perfect. Now I'm going to select both. I'm going to click Align Center, and that's going to center that right there on that tag. Now right now it's set to cut that out of there. We don't want to cut that. I want to print then cut this. So I'm going to, while they're both selected, the word and the label over here, both in the layers panel, they're both selected, we're going to click flatten. Flatten is used whenever you want to turn something into print then cut. So we're going to flatten. And now this is one piece, it's one label, it's a printable label, and that's going to set on our card right here. And that is all there is to this card. So you're going to click Make It, and you see you can get this on 2 sheets of paper, and I know a lot of people get upset about this leftover white space. I really don't sweat it. I have plenty of cardstock, and quite frankly I save this and use it for stamps or other images or when I just need a small piece of white. But it is going to fit on 2 pieces of cardstock. So if you haven't done print and cut before, you're going to click continue. You can select your Cricut device. So the first thing you're going to do is print. So you're going to click print right here. You're going to choose your printer, and you can use inkjet, you can use LaserJet. Either one works just fine. I've used both. I use both on a regular basis. This particular time I'm going to use my LaserJet, and then you're going to click print. And then you can either go ahead and cut this one or just click on this one. I like to do all my printing first and then print this one, and then I'll go back and select it, set my smart dial, load it on my mat, and cut it. So cut these out, meet me in my craft room, and I'll show you how to put this together. Before we start to assemble this, I wanted to show you what the final print and cut prints look like. I use a cardstock that really makes some vibrant prints. I know a lot of people complain about the quality of prints from a web-based software, but really it's all about the paper. This is a Photo Supreme double-sided matte paper. I get it from Staples. A lot of times they'll have buy one get one free, and that's what I stocked up on it a long time ago. And this just really makes some vibrant prints. So your paper really does make a huge difference. Also, a brochure matte paper works equally as well. So I just wanted to show you that. You're going to print these out, and the Cricut is going to put it into the Cricut, and it's going to read this top left, and then the bottom left, and then the upper right registration mark. It's going to look at it, and that's going to tell it where those images are on the paper, and then it's going to cut those out. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, cut it in half on the long side, that's 4 1/4. You can cut it the other way if you like, but this is the way I like to cut my cards. And then if you have a scoring tool, you can score this right at 5.5 inches. If you don't, you can just fold it in half. I just picked up this scoreboard. It's by EK Success. I like it because it's a mini one and it's good for videos. It fits in the screen. But it's not necessary. You can just fold the cardstock in half if you want. And then you're going to set that aside, and we're going to start to build the card. You should have all of these pieces. You're going to take the largest piece in the back, and if you want to do any stitching or anything, I love to add stitching to my cards. I put it right in the sewing machine. So if you want to stitch anything, go ahead and do that now before we start to assemble the card. It's not an essential part of this card. It's just optional. So if you want to stitch a card, go ahead and stitch your card bases. And you can see I went ahead and stitched around the edges of the two back pieces. You're just going to apply a little bit of adhesive to the back of the largest black piece, the one with the words on it, and we're going to adhere that right to the front of the card. Next, we're going to take the green plaid piece, and we're just going to apply that to the back of the card using some foam adhesive. I like these foam squares, super simple. You can get them almost anywhere. And we're just going to apply that right to the center. And then we're going to add adhesive to the back of the striped paper. Add foam dots to the label. And finish it off with the hello using foam adhesive. I hope you enjoyed learning how to use digital patterns in Design Space and enjoyed this card. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, I appreciate you being here. Here are some other videos you might find of interest. And until next time, see you soon. Bye-bye.